Hi there! In this video, I will show you how to create a manipulator, a robot designed by RoboCamp team and assembled from Lego Spike bricks. This is part 2 of this entire manipulator lesson. So if you want to create an amazing and fully autonomous robot, make sure you check out all the other parts of this lesson too. If you want to complete this stage with me, here's a list of everything you will need. Well, it's short. You will simply need Lego Spike kit, like the one you see right here in front of me. We have some construction parts, we also have some electronics below, and that's everything you will need. If you are a teacher or you are just interested in conducting robotics lessons or coding for kids, well then remember that all the resources you see behind me, all those step-by-step instructions are a resource that you can use too. More about that, more lessons and more training for teachers you can find in the description to this video, so make sure you check it out. And now everyone, if you are ready, let's start building. Okay, now my workstation is ready. As you can see, I have quite a lot of space here, and this way you will also be able to see very easily how I connect individual elements. Now, before we begin, make sure you have some space on your desk ready too. Make sure there are no other elements, and you will see that this will be very helpful when you're building a robot. Another thing to mind, if you have this kit, make sure you have all the elements sorted out. Best if you have them sorted out according to those stickers. This way you will be able to find all the elements you need very easily, very quickly, and believe me, this makes the entire building process much shorter. Now here's how this will work. Behind me you can see every step of the building instruction. In the top left corner, you can see all the elements, all the parts needed for this individual step. And in the middle, of course, you can see how we're going to connect them. And right here above my head, you'll be able to see how I connect my elements and how long it takes me to find all of them. So maybe let's start with that. Let's start with finding all the elements that we need for this first step of building the manipulator. Okay, first things first, we will need one of these, okay, and also some pins. Note that the black ones are pins with friction. They have those little bumps on them, okay? And so make sure you select the right ones. Those are the ones we need for this step. We also need two elements I call axle pins, but this time they need to be smooth, okay? Now, with this kit, you can just easily follow the colors that we have in this list of parts. This way you will be sure that you have the right element. Okay, now I hope you have all the parts, so now I will minimize this window and let's connect them exactly as they should be. This is before and now it's after. Okay, so I will start with pins. And next I will add those axle pins right on top of this element. This is how mine looks like. Okay, now we're done with the first step, so let's proceed to the next one. Okay, now we need another type of connector, and we need to find this right here. Okay, this is how it looks like. It might be quite difficult to see because I also have a white desk here. Okay, before and All right. And without further ado, let's proceed to the next step. Okay, guys, we are already adding this big motor right here. So let's find it. Now, you won't find it in the construction parts. You need to go below those trays to find an electronic element which looks like this. It's way easier to find. As you can see, it's much bigger. And now we need to connect it. Okay, now I'm not sure where exactly it should go, so okay, now I know. Okay, good. Now we need to find those elements. We have a small axle, a small gear, our first gear in this construction, and once again, axle pin. Okay, let's start by finding all the elements we need. This way I'm making sure I won't miss any crucial part, because later on it could be problematic, you know. Okay, so this is how we should connect them. Now with this one, actually, you can either first just insert this axle into the motor. You can also do it before. And this is how it looks like. Next. Oh wow, now we're building something else. Notice, so I will just move this part aside right here. Okay, I won't add anything new to it right now. So let's find all those elements. Okay, we need a frame. A smaller one. Yeah, this is the one we need. A lot of longer pins. And one normal size. Okay, now I have all the elements, so I will minimize this window. And let's see exactly how they should be placed. All right. This one should go right here. This one on the other side. And the pin goes right here. Now, make sure you're placing those elements correctly, okay? A good hack to do it is to basically try positioning your parts, your elements, exactly as you see them in the instructions, okay? This way, you'll be sure that everything is in the right position. For me, it would be something like this. All right. Now we need this beam-like element, which is 7 holes long, okay? So let's find it and make sure it's the right one. So make sure you count them before you connect these elements. Okay, this is the right one. And, okay. Pretty easy so far. Next. Okay, now we're connecting these two elements together. Okay, so first I need to kind of change the position of this one. It should be more like this. And now I need to connect these two. Let's see how exactly. All right. Good. Next, please. Okay, we need another frame, just like the last one, but notice that this time we'll need to attach those pins on the other side. Okay, so let's find the elements, the frame, all the pins. Now let's see how to connect them. This one goes right here. The blue one goes over there. And right here. Now, when you're building a robot, try not to substitute parts with some other type of parts. Like here, you might think that those two are very similar, so they could be, well, used interchangeably, but that is not the case, because notice that on the other hand, this one actually has this kind of a bushing at the end, and this one has a pin. Okay, this is quite important for the next steps yet to come. So make sure you use exactly those parts that are shown in the instructions. And of course, right now we need to attach this frame to the other side of this large motor, like so. Okay. Now, before we proceed, maybe let me show you quickly how this element looks like on a close-up. Okay, we have this large motor right here. And this is what we've managed to build so far. Alright, so now let's put this large motor aside for just a moment, because right now we need to connect some other elements. As you can see, we need some very curious looking connectors for this step, okay? Two ones like these and one of these. Now, of course, we need to connect them exactly as you can see it. Okay, so from this side, first one, then the other. All right. And now we actually need to install plenty of pins right in here. So first, let's find them. Make sure we have all the pins that we need for this step. Okay, 4 of, oh, sorry, not, see, my mistake, I took out this one. Okay, this is why it's so important to get all the parts you need before. All right, and also 2 smooth types with axles, okay, like these. All right, and this is how they should look like. Okay, 2 more to go. Okay, I think I got it. So let's go to the next step and place one of the medium motors on top. Now, medium motor, as the name suggests, is of course smaller than the large one, okay? But it looks quite similar. You have this motor head right here, okay? So now we basically need to position it and install it on this very small platform, okay? By using those holes right here and those pins over there. Okay. Good. Next. Okay, now we actually need to add a gear and a small axle connected to it. Okay. All right, there we go. Now for this step, we need one of those smaller gears. So of course, we need to actually transfer movement from the motor to the gear. And one easy way to do it is to add a small axle and a gear on it. Okay, there we go. Now make sure you insert this axle right to the very end, okay? So that it's not sticking out, otherwise it might easily fall out and we don't want that. Next, we're adding one more medium motor. Let's find it first. Okay, I have mine right here. And of course, we need to add this one right here on the other side of the small platform. Okay, once again, use those pins and the holes over here. And notice in which direction this motor head is, in what direction this part of the motor is. Okay, this, as you can see from the top, this part is on the outside and on the other side is on the outside too. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Okay, now that the motors are installed, let's see how we should connect them with this one, with the large motor. Okay, now we can see here that basically all we need to do is just take this and insert this into this element right over here. Let me show you on a close-up so that there is no mistake here. Basically, take those two medium motors in one hand and just slide it right here on the top. Okay, you can see that it won't stay in one place and it may easily fall out. So just place it on your desk like so, because we will fix that in a moment. All right, we need another beam like this one, exactly the same type we have on this side. So blue, 7 holes, let's find it. It's right here, and of course, to make sure that those motors stay in place where they should, we need to install this one on the other side right here. So let's do this. All right. Okay, another important part of the construction is complete, so let me show you on a close-up how mine looks like. There we go, we have all those cables sticking out, but for now, pay more attention to this construction, how it looks like. From the other side too. Okay. The motors are connected, so I would say that the core of the manipulator is ready. However, there's still a lot of other parts we need to connect, so let's move those motors aside and find all the elements we need to start building the gripper. Okay, so first we need one of those two kinds of bent beams, okay, and one axle pin, smooth, of course. Okay, here's how to connect them. Okay, not this side. Okay, now it's right. Okay, and notice that you can easily move these two elements, well, very freely. That's because this pin type is smooth. Okay, now we need one very short axle, the red one with notches on it, and another axle pin. Okay. All right, is this how this should look like? Yes. Now, we need to take this element and attach it to the motors right here, okay? All right, so notice where exactly those two, a pin and an axle should go. This is before and after. Before and after. Now I will also switch to a close-up. This way I'll be able to show you better how to connect these parts. Now first we know that this axle needs to go right here into the center of the motor head, and the pin should go right here. So first you may want to adjust a bit the position of the pin and the motor head, because, well, to be honest, inserting this pin will be easy, but notice that right here we need to fit into this motor head, which has a very specific shape. Okay, and this is kind of tricky. Okay, but notice that we also need to make sure that this part, okay, is on this side. Okay, now I've got it. Took me a moment, but I have it and it's ready, so it's good. Okay, now we need to find this very, very long rack, okay? And also a shorter axle, which is 3 studs long. Now, if you are not sure how to measure it, take another longer element, a brick or a beam, like this one, okay? Position your axle right next to it and count the studs, or in my case, holes. You can see that there are 3, which means that this particular axle is 3 studs long. Now we need to place it in the rack. And notice on which side. Now, first and foremost, this rack is upside down, okay? Notice that all those teeth are actually directed downwards. Okay? And now we actually need to find 2 connectors. Now, there are several connectors of this type in the Spike set, so make sure you select those that are exactly like the ones you see in the instructions. Okay, then just connect them as you can see in the instructions. Good. Okay, now we need to find 2 axle pins. Okay. And next, we actually need 2 small bent beams, like these 2. Okay. Now, those play an important role for this manipulator. Okay, they are part of the gripper, part which will actually grasp an object placed in front of this robot. But of course, just them alone wouldn't be enough. So we actually need to find some more parts. Here we have axle pins, slightly longer ones this time. let's place them 1 and 2, like so. Once you have them, it's time to add some more band beams. But notice that these ones are slightly different. The degree, the angle is different, and also the size of those band beams is different too. So let's minimize this window and see exactly how to connect them. All right. So basically, we just need to slide this onto these axles and try not to move it right now from your desk because they can easily fall off. But not for long. We need 2 bushings and 2 axle pins. Okay, I have mine right here. I'll start with the bushings. Okay, and now all the elements are in place. Okay, now we need to find 2 short axles. Each must be 3 studs long, exactly. They're easy to recognize, they're quite short, brightly colored too, and we need this connector. I will start with the connector, okay? Try positioning these elements so that they're directly below those 2 holes on the sides. And then just connect them. Okay, the axles should be positioned at the end of the band beams, kind of in the middle. Yeah, like so. And now it's getting quite interesting. We need to find 2 pins with bushings and also 4 rubbers. 1, 2, and 4. Okay, maybe I will start with those longer pins right here. Notice that they kind of limit the movement of this connector. So one must be on one side right here. The other right here. Yep, there we go. Now you can see that the movement of this part has become kind of limited, but still very much free. It looks kind of as if those elements were waving at us. Okay, and now let's place those rubbers. Now those rubbers are great for the manipulator because they will allow this robot to grasp other plastic elements much easier. And now we need to place the gripper onto the base with the motors. So now I'll switch my view so that you can see how exactly to connect it. But before I do that, pay quickly attention to how it looks like according to the instructions. When connecting these 2 parts, make sure that first and foremost the rack is in between the motors, and also those 2 pins right here should go over here. And voila. Okay, the gripper is installed, but we're not done just yet. Let's find all 4 pins we need right now. Okay, and install them on top. Great. And those pins are actually, well, the base, a means of connection to add the hub to this robot. Very important part too. So let's find it. Most probably you will have it below the tray. It's quite big. Okay, this is how it looks like. And now we need to place it right here by using those 4 pins that we have just added. Now don't worry, we also have a means of connection right here, so it should all work out. Try not to use too much force in here. If you can, try to maybe wiggle a bit, because using too much force with the pins can easily damage them. You don't want that to happen. Pins are very important in robot building, so losing them, it's not a good option, There we go. Kind of tricky, but we've made it. The hub is installed right on top of the manipulator. So now it's only logical that it's finally time to connect all these cables. Now notice that it's important where exactly, to which port they should be connected to. So maybe let's start with this motor, the large motor on the bottom right here. It should be connected to port C, which for me is right here. Okay, yeah. Now, okay, the right motor, the one over here, should be connected to port E. Okay, and we're left with the last medium motor, which should be connected to port A. Okay, I'm so glad. Okay, now all the cables are in place. Good. Now, if you are done with your cables too, let's see what the next step is. Okay, this time we need 2 pins. Okay, I have them right here, and they should be placed. I cannot see them well, so I'll switch the view. Okay, great. This is where we should place them. Okay. Good. Now we need to add the sensor, the distance sensor. So let's find it first. Okay, so here's how it looks like. And basically what we need to do right now is to place it like so. Now notice how the cable is positioned too, okay? It's not going down, but rather it goes up. Let's try to make sure it happens with our robot too. And right here, of course, we will use those 2 pins we have just added to fix this sensor. Great. And what should we do with the cable? Okay, it's right here, and it should be connected to the port F. Okay. Okay, now maybe before we proceed to building all the remaining elements, that is floor and the stands, let me show you how my robot looks like right now. Because this way you will be able to easily compare it with yours, see if there are any differences, okay? Now it's best if there are as little as possible, because this ensures that your robot will be working perfectly. There will be no problems whatsoever. And of course, you will be able to modify it later on after you've made sure that everything works as it should in the base version. Okay, now let's start building the, floor, or actually the working surface for the manipulator robot. So for a moment, we will move the robot itself aside, and we actually need to find all those elements. You can see that we need 2 connectors like these, 1 long pin, and also 1 very, very big plate. Now, since it is so big, well, you can easily find it below the tray, okay, with other construction parts. Now, just this one isn't actually enough for our robot, so we need to connect it with another plate of this type. That's all the connectors. Okay, let's find this element too. Should go right in the middle. Like so. Now we need to find the second plate. I have mine right here. And now we need some more pins. Just creating the floor isn't enough. Certainly not enough for this robot. So let's find the elements. Okay, there we go. I'll start with these 2. And with the others, we have some counting to do. Okay, this one should be right here. Good. And now we actually need to find this huge gear you can see right here, and also those 2 connectors, which actually will be stands for the manipulator robot. Okay, I have these 2 right here. I also have this big gear. Okay, let's start with the stands. Okay. 1 and 2. And now a very important element for this robot, big gear, right in the center of this working space. And now is the time to add the robot on top. Let's change the view of it. Right here, you can see that we need to use this pin and then connect these 2 parts. Okay, Now make sure it's inserted right in the middle, right here. Okay? And now I'll try to do it too. Okay, so take your robot. Remember, we also have here this pin. We placed it there at the very beginning, and now we need to place it right here. All right. Now it's actually kind of difficult to show you this robot, how it looks like, but I hope you can see everything well enough. The manipulator is now created, but aren't we forgetting about something? We still need to create an object for this robot to move from one place to another. And so for that, we're just going to connect 4 round bricks, stack them on top of the other. So let's find them first. Okay, I have mine right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And of course, all you need to do is to connect them together. Good. Okay, there we go. We have an object for the manipulator. The manipulator itself is also complete. Let me show you once again how it looks like on a close-up. Right here, you can see it's quite impressive. It's got its entire own workstation, perhaps a lab, okay? This is how it looks like from all sides. Now you may want to check out how your cables are connected too. If you followed all the instructions, you should have no problems in the upcoming stages of the lesson. All right. And let's not forget this very important object that our manipulator will move from one place to another. Now the creation stage of the manipulator robot is complete. Good job. But there's still a lot we need to cover before we turn this heap of parts into an actually autonomous robot. So I'll see you in the next video where I explain how individual parts and mechanisms of this construction are supposed to work. And then we'll proceed to programming. If you enjoyed this video, leave us a thumbs up, that's always appreciated. And if you would like to learn more about robotics and coding and programming for kids, check out the description below and our website, robocamp.eu. Thank you so much and see you in the next video.